Thank you for joining us. You are a part of an elite group who recognizes that Black women's health should be at the forefront of the national conversation. We are mothers, daughters, activists, entrepreneurs, entertainers, corporate warriors, and more, who help boost the economy and often drive the national conversation. For 38 years, the Black Women's Health Imperative has strived to amplify our voices, help enact policy that protects us, research our issues, create programs that enhance our lives, and produce events like this one to ensure we keep the conversation going about the issues that matter to us most. So, let's get started with our program.
Good evening. I am Rashawn Ali, and I will be your host / moderator for tonight's event, the 2021 Wellness Summit presented by the Black Women's Health Imperative with support from Poise. And we're going to have a really good time tonight, and we're going to explore ways to keep our minds together, to keep our money right, and of course, to keep our bodies healthy in this new year. And I'm confident that our diverse panel of experts will give you everything that you need. Make sure that you have a notebook ready, whatever it is, whether it's a piece of paper, you need to have something ready so that you can write down all of these nuggets that we are going to share. Well, I'm actually taking notes as well that will be shared with you tonight. So I'm so happy that you decided on this Thursday night, January the 14th, to join us. So I am so happy to have just an amazing group of women to join me so that they can impart knowledge unto you. Okay, so tonight's summit has 3 key areas of wellness that we'll be focused on, which includes mind, money, and movement. So I'll be introducing the panelists throughout each of our sessions. All right. Our mind session is presented by Poise. It includes Sherry Riley. She's the author of a dynamic book titled Exponential Living: How to Stop Spending 100% of Your Time on 10% of Who You Are. Yes, and here she is. Hey, Sherry, baby. That's my girl.
Oh my God.
Hey, we about to get into it. Also, Avery Sunshine, successful recording artist and the host of the Hey Sunshine Show. Can't you see the sunshine on her face? Hey, Amy Sunshine.
Can you see it?
Yes.
Hello, beautiful ladies.
Hello. Yes. And Dr. Jessica Shepard, a board certified OBGYN. Yes. Hello. How are you, Dr. Shepard?
I am doing amazing. It's so like your faces are just so beautiful on the screen.
Yes, and you as well. And you as well. Yes. And then later we'll dive deep with Tanya Rapley, the founder of MyFab Finance, for the money session of our summit. And we'll finish the evening with our interactive movement session featuring Soleil, the founder of Debbie Tribe Wellness. So I am so happy. We have a night just filled with love and joy and peace and vibrations and movement and money. So it's going to be a good time. Don't you agree, ladies?
Yes, while we wearing green, right?
Absolutely.
Yes. So this summit is definitely designed to be interactive. So we want you to participate. So please be sure to ask your questions. If you're on Facebook or YouTube, make sure you put that in the comments because we'll get to your questions throughout the night. So please make sure you're jotting down the information in your notebook, like I said, and then we'll make sure we get to you. Okay. So Sherry, I'm going to start with you. We're starting off with our mind session, getting everybody right. And I will have to tell everybody, in full disclosure, Sherry is one of my greatest friends. Not only because she is just that, a great friend, but she has helped me in areas of my life that I never knew would grow to the heights that they have grown to. And she was the impetus of that growth. And I'm just so happy to have just continued to share space to cultivate our friendship but that she is imparting that amazing knowledge, not only through her book, but through her words. So as we started off 2021 and everybody's like, oh Lord, please, we don't need a redo. We don't need a redo. What will you tell these amazing women who have joined us tonight? What type of information can you offer them as far as living the best version of themselves as we go into this new year?
Well, as you shared, Rashawn, it's so good to always have this opportunity to share with you as the birth mom of exponential living. And the core of exponential living is it's a lifestyle of pursuing peace, choosing clarity, and living courageously. And one of the biggest lessons I hope everyone took away from 2020 into 2021 is the power of saying no. The power of not having to be everywhere, talking to everybody, and doing everything. When we understand that we value our time, when we make what's most important. Because when we feel like we have to be everywhere, doing everything, talking to everybody, we lose the most important thing that is our power, which is that peace. And when we take peace out of our equation, we lose the clarity. And when we don't have peace and when we don't have clarity, that's when we lose the courage to make the tough decisions, be able to live the true and best life we want to live. So I want everyone in 2021 to value their time, commit to what's most important, and understand the value of no.
You know, I think that a lot of women, they want to do that, but they don't know how to figure out what is that thing that will help make me be clear as to what my path is and where I'm going in my life. Can you give us just one nugget as to how a woman can find her why?
That is such a big, broad question, but it has a very simple answer. And the first thing we have to do is stop saying, I don't know. We got to stop saying, I don't know. Now, we may not have all the answers, but we always know. We may not know how the story is going to end, but we know where to start. We know where to start. That means stop saying, I don't know. Because what happens is when we say, I don't know, we put a ceiling on what we do know. We convince ourselves never to start. So the first thing we have to do is stop saying, I don't know, commit to what you do know, and understand that in that there's going to be a messy middle. Just allow yourself, give yourself permission to go through the messy middle. So the power is in stop saying, I don't know.
Wow. Permission to go through the messy middle. Write that down.
Yes.
The messy middle.
The messy middle. And Avery, you know, people will look at your life and they'll look at your Instagram and say, oh, she's got it all going on.
Yeah.
She's a successful artist, wife, mother, all of these great things. And then what do you do when you have to face that messy middle? And tell us how you find the balance.
I'm learning to, and good evening, and thank you for allowing me to be here. And I didn't took notes. I couldn't even listen to you. That messy middle, I'm in it now. It's messy now. I am being honest about that messy place, because it allows me it allows me to see when I'm, or even appreciate when the mess is not happening, if that makes any sense. When I spend a lot of trying to cover up the mess, rather than just allow the mess to be what it is as a part of the process. I find that there's so much truth in that honesty and saying, right now, you know what, I am a mess. I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna be all right. Tomorrow, I might look crazy. Right now, I'm all put together, right? But a minute ago, it was messy. It was real. And the truth is, right before I got on with you all, I got a message that one of my vocal heroes and one of the Pay sisters had just transitioned. And I don't know if you've seen her. She might be anywhere, at the grocery store, anywhere, and just start singing and just make everything better for everybody. So I was a mess right before we logged on. And being able to acknowledge that allows us almost a release, the weight of having to carry, and maybe sometimes not knowing that's heavy.
Yeah.
That is really heavy. And of course, I would name myself Avery Sunshine. So I feel like everything is always shining all the time. It's not. I'm sorry, I'm hung up on the messy middle because it is so real. It is so, as a mom, as a business owner, as a wife, and having to shine all the time. A part of the shine is acknowledging that sometimes I am not shining.
Yeah.
And being okay with that.
Yeah. Well, what about when you have to tell yourself, because I always tell other women, hey, extend yourself some grace. But how do you do that for yourself?
Moments like these are so important. I do call my sisters. I do talk to, I've been picking up more, I've been doing more reading, and I have to do this. My latest piece is from Toni Morrison's book, her novel, Jazz. What's the world for you if you can't make it up the way you want it? So I'm giving myself permission to make my life and my world the way I want it. Not the way my husband wants it, or my children want it, my fans want it, my mama wants it, the way I want it. There's so much peace in that, Rashawn.
Yes.
Ladies, there's so much peace in saying, I create this thing. So that's how I remind myself, I create this thing.
Mm-hmm.
So the nobody else can judge it.
Right. Yes. That's good. That's good. The power of mindfulness and manifestation and prayer, creating the life that you want, life that you want. Yes.
That's it.
And we have to give ourselves permission to know that we can do that, because a lot of times we don't feel like we have the power to. God gives us the power.
Yes.
To be able to create the lives that we want. Yeah. And I'm glad that you have said that, Avery. Dr. Shepherd, I want to definitely bring you in. I know that you have been seeing so many women who have been exhibiting stress in the physical form, mental form, all of these things that you have been seeing throughout this pandemic. What has been your greatest piece of advice to your patients? And what are some of the signs that people who may be living alone, or people who may be just living in silence, even in their own home, what can they say to themselves when they know this isn't right? Or what can their family members be looking for when something isn't right?
Yeah, I think just hearing from, everyone who's spoken tonight is that there is such this last year has really been a stressor in so many different ways, and put so many people on an even playing field as far as we were not able to say who or who does not get, exposed to COVID. And with that it became a very mentally distressing type of situation, more so than just our health. It really played an impact on our mentalness, our mindfulness. And one of the things that I know as a physician is that the brain is such an amazing organ. But if we don't tap into it, if we don't allow for it to actually be used, and using that manifestation of what we're able to accomplish, there are so many things that can be missed. And linking those things, the symptoms that many of my patients, many family members and friends that they went throughout the last year, are typically signs of burnout or exhaustion. And that can be experienced in so many different aspects. But if we're not kind of cluing into, this is something that needs to, one, be paid attention to, and also taking away the shame of discussing that with someone, whether that's with just friends or family or a therapist or a healthcare provider. But that physical, mental, emotional exhaustion is real. And that can come in the form of anxiety, it can come in the form of headaches, fatigue, lack of sleep, and also how we view our lives and ourselves as we're going through this amazing transition of a pandemic, of life, of people who we've seen, pass from this disease, and even, a little bit into politics. So all of this really has played a big part on our mental health. Mm-hmm. And we have to be willing to, one, discuss it. I think that's one of the things that I think is so important, that maybe have shame in our culture and maybe in our communities of sharing our mental exhaustion and our mental wellness and health. And so I think if we can open ourselves to that and allow ourselves to, now coming into this new year of recovery and renewal and restoration, we can do some magnificent things in growth.
Right. What are those things that you have told some of the people that you've seen who are exhibiting some of these stressors? What have you told them on how they can start to rebuild?
And so you were talking earlier about writing things down, and journaling, I think, is one of those aspects that is something that is we can kind of commit to, and that we can do and put into our daily activities that really can help us compartmentalize and really organize our days and how we adjust to things, how we clarify, how we talk to ourselves, what we're able to manifest. But as a healthcare provider, one of the things that I'm like totally invested in and love talking to my patients about is wellness in the aspect of yoga and meditation and mindfulness, and really tuning into how, again, we kind of incorporate our mental wellness into actual health. Because a lot of times we think that that's something like kind of weird and off to the side, and not many people want to hear about that, but that is really important. It impacts our physical health, how we're able to, decrease hypertension, how we're able to control our health. And it really factors into all of that. So mindfulness, meditation, a lot of my patients who are exhibiting stress, sending them to exercise classes such as yoga really is a mental workout for me. And so those are the things that I like. It's kind of like homework. I like to say, as you leave my office, these 4 walls of what I'm going to maybe write on a prescription pad or recommend for you for treatment is also your homework. What can you do outside of this office that's going to contribute to your health?
Right. That's great information. Great information. Sherry, as we go into the new year, we got vision board parties. Now they're all virtual, or some people who are braving it and, doing it in person with just a small group. Let's stay masked up, everybody. And manifestation maps. How can we stay on course? Or what is your opinion on, those types of things? Are they trendy? Do they work? What would you offer to our women? Because we've got a lot of people logged on who just need some direction in that area.
Well, I would say they're trendy and they work. What separates the difference is your long-term commitment to the work. Mm-hmm. So it's trendy if you do it for the moment, and by July 31st, it's out the window. They work when you commit to the process.
Nice.
And so what I say is, but all of that starts to just back up what's been said. It starts in the mind first. Mm-hmm. And most people, when they commit to something, whether it's a health program or fitness program, whether it's their vision board, they get half the commitment. What we do is we commit to saying, I'm going to eat healthy, or we commit to saying, I'm going to lose weight, or I'm going to go to the gym. But what I want to do is give us a full way to reach success. And what that is when we commit, what we have to do is commit to, I'm going to lose weight, or I'm going to go to the gym. But we also have to commit to the consistency. Mm-hmm. And that's where the breakdown happens. So let me just give you a quick example. Let's say I'm committed to going to the gym 4 days a week, right? Mm-hmm. So because I want to lose weight. So my commitment is, I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to eat healthy, and I'm going to go to the gym. What happens is that random Monday that you don't want to get up, mm-hmm. You're committed to going to the gym, you can talk yourself out of it. But when you're committed to going to the gym and you're committed to consistency, that's the extra push. Just get up and go. Now, I have committed to the consistency, got to the gym, honestly walked in, turned around, and went back home.
Right.
It's going to work out, right?
Yes.
What happened is when Tuesday rolled around, I was so excited that I went, that I was consistent, that I got up and I went the next day.
Right.
But I wasn't committed to the consistency. I got up and said, well, girl, you didn't go yesterday. Start next week. So we have to be committed to the consistency and the idea. And the second part I want to offer, when we create that vision board or whatever, the mind map or the resolution, we also have to do 2 other things. We have to get accountability partners, right? Vision partners, accountability partners. And then we have to decide, I'm going to be a disruptor in my life. Mm-hmm. Einstein says if you do the same thing over and over and expect a different result, That's the definition of insanity. We have to be a disruptor in our own lives. Whatever that place is that you have done the same thing and got the result you did not want, decide to be a disruptor. If this is your 8th year doing a vision board and you got the same thing on that vision board, decide to be a disruptor in your own life. If
Right.
you've been losing 15 pounds for 15 years, be a disruptor in your own life.
Yes.
You know that you want a better marriage, and you know that it's not just your husband, be a disruptor and decide what kind of wife you want to be.
Yes.
Disruptor in your own life.
Yes.
Stick to the consistency, be a disruptor in your own life, and make sure that you get accountability partners.
Right, right. Avery, I hear you saying yes.
Taking notes. Commit to consistency. That's the problem. Disrupt my own life. That's not quite what you said, but that's what it means to me.
Right. Yes. So since we are a participant as well, Avery, how are you going to commit to consistency?
Let me tell you something.
Year?
I'm going to commit, because I ain't going to tell you the thing that I signed up for, because they not giving me no money to tell y'all. But I signed up for something, and they keep sending me texts. And what I do is I hit it because I don't want to answer. And they keep asking, you still haven't logged in your weight yet?
I know what you're talking about.
I'm going to, the light bulb, and another, I try to write down the epiphanal moments that happen in my life. And I'm telling you, it was epiphanal to hear you say, commit to consistency. That's what I've been missing. I don't, there's nothing else for me. If I don't say another word ever, that commit, we can say, I'm going to do a new album. I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to get married. I'm going to be a better wife. I'm going to clean. I'm going to, get all these dust bunnies all the time. I'm going to cook. But if you do not commit to the consistency, because I'll do that for a couple of weeks, a couple of days, and then I'm done. I'm bored. I want something else, or something will happen that does disrupt us. Something external disrupts the pattern, and then I'm off. And then I try yoga. Dr. Shepherd, I tried yoga, meditation, and my mind won't stop long enough for me to forgot what I was. And I'm thinking hard. I'm yogaing. I made that up. I'm yogaing and meditating, and okay. And then I'm stressed out because I can't stop my mind from working, from moving. Oh, I got to get my son back to Boston. Oh, it's COVID everywhere. How am I going to do?
That's very real.
Yeah,
that's very real.
So again, the committing to consistency, whatever that is, it just covers everything for me. That you did it for me.
Yeah.
Where's the offering plate?
Dr. Shepherd, when you hear, obviously you heard Sherry give the steps, and then Avery and I are like, yeah, we do need to commit to consistency. And then Avery was mentioning, it's not, I'm yogiing, I'm doing all these things. But how will you tell your patients and our beautiful women watching today how to find what works for them?
Yeah, I think, there's variety in all of that. Variety is very important when we think there's never like a one track on how you can obtain all of these things that are great for you, that benefit you. And that's why there's the beauty in option and variety and how you can do that. But as a healthcare provider, I'm always going to advocate for you to create a legacy of health and how you can be better for not only you, but for people around you and for your children or your family members. And the way that you can do that for me is sparking conversations that empower you to be better in your health, to create that consistency, like Avery was discussing. But that's one of the reasons I love being a women's health expert and allowing these conversations to occur. Again, because you will find that even between the four of us, we all have a different idea of what that looks like for us, or what our expectations are, or the steps that we would even take to get to that specific goal. So it creates that discussion. And that's why, as a Poise brand partner, I love sparking these types of conversations to, one, establish a legacy of health, but also to shatter stigmas that come around female health and help them understand themselves better as a human, as a woman, and who they are in their environment.
Yes.
Yes.
How did you want to now, Avery? Now you can ask the doctor something too. Now this
You
is
know, I
open
was
forum.
listen. I'm cursed. You can't tell my lips. Speaking, by the way, they can tell y'all that I have a makeup. I started a makeup line in 2020.
Come on.
What?
Yes.
I'm wearing it right now. But I want you to see that too. But what I was going to say, when you talk about us taking care of ourselves, and women talking to women about women's issues, and us being able. I made a conscious decision after I had I have fibroids. I have fibroids, and I had really, really painful and heavy periods. So I couldn't find a gynecologist that y'all know, between health insurance and all, you got to kind of go with found someone, but it was a man, and I needed it done, and we're on the road and we're moving. But that thing inside me said, he's just now, he may be well learned, right? He might be the top of his field. He's still a man. That space that has been, I dare say, toxic masculinity. And I say that because there is masculinity that is not toxic, right? Mm-hmm. But toxic masculinity will dictate that the white man knows best for us. And I found myself as a 43-year-old woman at the time, knowing it was wrong, feeling it was wrong, still letting him tell me what I should do for my body. And I am still not healed yet. I have to go back and start the process again. But what my soul and my mind knew, you probably need to do something different. But I let the man listen, you don't need that yet. Your body's, sir, there's no way you could even know. And Dr. Sherry, I want you to speak to that space, that state of mind where we don't trust ourselves, let alone the other women's voices. You follow me?
And you're not the only one who this story is unique to, because there are so many women who will sit in an office and maybe nod their head, and when they walk out, there's still that feeling that they're like, I'm not on board with this. And that's why I encourage every woman, if they feel how you felt, to get a second opinion, a third opinion, a fourth opinion, until I really feel that as a physician and a patient relationship, it should be one of commonality, in the sense that we're both contributing to what is best for you. And it should not be a one-way conversation. And so you and I will talk offline.
Yes,
we are going to find. Yes. And then you send me some lipstick.
Absolutely. Illuminate beauty. I'm going to send it to you. I'm wearing diamond pink right now.
Yes. I love it. We do have some questions from the audience, and this one is really, really good. From Lisa Pineda. And this is for you, Dr. Shepherd. She's concerned about how COVID-19 has impacted women with postpartum depression. What are some methods and suggestions for women during this time? That's difficult when the world is quote unquote perfect.
Yes.
Yeah. I think that this question is beautiful because, one, it goes right to the issue. What do we do with this problem? And naming it, again, should be no shame when we talk about mental health and mental wellness. But postpartum depression is real. Postpartum depression impacts so many more women than we think, and especially in a time when we were very secluded and we weren't allowed to interact with our families. I mean, we had people who at some point had to deliver a baby without any family members there. So if you can imagine that emotional toll that it took on so many women in this last year, even into this year, the real issue is, how do we now navigate in that space after delivering a child, or as we're in the postpartum timeframe, is one, using the resources that we do have available to us. For example, tonight we are doing this virtual, and many of the things in the last year has been virtual. There's so many therapists that I have found that I'm like, I need you to talk to my patient, and tapping and tuning into those resources and services, whether it's daily, whether it's weekly, until you feel that you're at that place where you are you feel confident about yourself or the decisions that you're making. So I would definitely recommend a virtual therapist or a psychiatrist or psychologist, never feel afraid to talk to someone. Also, all of the organizations that contribute to postpartum depression, there are many of them that are available. And just so people know, taking medication does not necessarily mean that that is a bad thing for you. It does not mean that you'll have to take it long term. Sometimes you just need a little bit of help. It is okay to need help. And you want someone to be able to guide you through that time frame so you can be on the end part, be better for yourself. So I would recommend, obviously, they can find some resources that we'll be able to give offline, and they can find me through DM on Instagram, but I can give them those resources. And that's what we want to do in these conversations.
Awesome. That is fantastic. As we wrap up our mind session, I would like for each of you to give us, that 1 or 2 sentence parting words as to how we can make sure that we stay focused on our goals this year and give ourselves permission to go through the messy middle, but then come out of it because peace, it's a new success. Come on, Sherry, you see how I did that?
I saw how you did that. Yes.
Yes.
That's why you were sister.
Go right ahead, Sherry.
I just want to say to all those amazing super women that are tuned in and taking advantage of this amazing opportunity tonight, you are a superwoman. But what I want to encourage you to do is understand the value of your cape. That cape is supposed to also come off, wrap it around you, and learn how to cuddle up and take a nap.
Yes.
There's nothing wrong with taking your cape off and using it as a blanket. There's nothing wrong with taking that cape off and saying that you need help. There's nothing wrong with taking that cape and using it for the multi-purposes that cape can serve. Sometimes you need to just take it, cover your head, and get a good cry. So be that superwoman. I encourage it because that's how we're going to take advantage of the money session that's coming next, and how we're going to take advantage of that movement section later.
Yes.
But I need you to understand the multi-purposes of your cape.
Yes.
Ooh, the multi-purposes of your cape. Got it? Avery Sunshine, what can you tell these beautiful people? Also, you have gathered so much from this session as well, sis. So what have you taken away?
I'm looking for my multifaceted and multicolored dream coat cape that I'm gonna wear every day. And what I mean, really, there's not much for me to say other than I'm sitting on the other side with the ladies who are listening, and I'm committing with all the ladies who are a part of this to commit to commit to putting our capes on every day. Commit to whatever that thing is. We said, just commit, and starting there, and it's all right. Wherever you are, just start there.
Yes.
And I'm giving myself permission to start right there. And I hope you'll do that with me too.
Yes. And you say you work on your sunshine every day.
Every day.
Do you have a personal mantra that you recite to yourself every morning? Or
you know what? I just started. There's a game. I like these little games online, and they have you can choose to have nice little notes to come up to remind you, and this little game is Bejeweled or something on, and they have these wonderful little messages that come up every day. And today the message said, all of my needs are met right now. That's the one I got to. All of my needs are met right now. And that translates to what? I don't have to worry about
a thing.
Yeah.
So that's, I'm committing though, to even then pull up my little games. What other little note is going to, because that is, again, the biggest thing for me, commit to consistency. Somebody, do you hear me, Dana? I know ladies, I know you feel like I feel.
Yes.
So,
Yes. Awesome. Thank you so much. Dr. Shepherd, what would be your parting words to these amazing women that have joined us tonight as to how they can continue to be the best version of themselves in 2021?
Yeah, 2021 is that ability to renew, restore, and recover. We all have the ability to do that, and we can do that with our health and wellness. Obviously, I'm going to be here shouting from the mountaintops about our health because it is so, so important. But we all have the ability to do that, but you have to find the resources and the referrals and the people who are going to strengthen that desire for you to renew, restore, and recover. So that is what I would say.
Awesome. And how can people continue to find you? I know we've been kind of showing where they can find you. How can people find you, Dr. Shepherd?
Yeah, they can find me. Probably Instagram is the easiest way to find me, on Jessica Shepherd MD. It's right there at the bottom. Follow me, DM for any ways that I can kind of give some advice to you. Obviously, I can get medical advice to you, but I can definitely get you in the right direction. And Avery gonna hit me up too, because we're gonna talk.
Look, everybody to call Sherry, everybody to call Dr. Shepherd. It's all good.
Follow. Type stalk in the DM. Stalking.
Yes. And Sherry, Exponential Living obviously is doing very, very well. You are a coach. You do so much for so many people, and I hope that you are pouring into yourself at the same time. Go ahead and tell everybody how they can find you and support your book.
As I say, Rashawn, I am my first and most important client. I'm just sharing what I do for me. But yes, you can definitely get the ebook and the audiobook everywhere those are sold. And you can order an autographed copy of Exponential Living. Stop spending 100% of your time on 10% of who you are at peaceisthenewsuccess.com. And Instagram is already posted there at Sherry Riley, which is my website as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sherry. My good friend, Sherry Riley. Avery Sunshine. The people want to know how they can get that sunshine.
Y'all know what it is, at Avery Sunshine or Lumac Beauty. If you can get these lips and lashes and stuff, or the Hey Sunshine Show .com. Check us out there, and we're gonna shine together. We will not allow anything to get the best of us. We will give everything the best of us.
Yes, that is fantastic. Yeah, Sherry, just follow. Good. Everybody's following each other. Yes. Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, ladies. I know that so many of the women who are participating today just found some amazing gems and nuggets in our first session. Sherry Riley, Avery Sunshine, and Dr. Shepherd, thank you so much for joining us for the Mind session here for the 2021 Wellness Summit, brought to you by Black Women's Health Imperative. All righty, everybody. I hope you are having a good time, because I sure am. Let me tell you, y'all want to see my journal? You really can't see because of my ring lights, but I'm telling you, it's a whole lot written on here. It looked like a blank page right here, but I'll screenshot it and put it out there. But anyway, we're having a good time. Happy that you are enjoying it. If you are just joining us, again, welcome to the 2021 BWHI Wellness Summit, where we are talking mind, money, and movement. And remember to put your questions in the chat, either on Facebook or YouTube, and we will get to them as time permits. Permits is the word, Rashawn. Our next segment is about money. Oh, me and money, we just have a thing. But I'm excited to welcome Tanya Rapley, founder of My Fab Finance, to join me tonight. Hey, Tanya.
Hi, good evening. How are you?
I am doing very, very well. Now, listen. I'm turning my page from my mind session. Now I'm going on to the money session. I admire people that do well with money. I really do, because, I'm just all right.
You too can be someone who does well with money. We all have it in us.
Yes. So let's just jump right into it. How did you even start to love money? Was it something that your parents instilled in you at a young age? Or is it something that you grew to learn and kind of navigate through and knowing how to increase your worth?
Well, I always think I loved money. I have a healthy love of money, but it was numbers. I hated numbers. Growing up, I struggled with math and everything else. And so it wasn't until I got to New York City after I graduated from college, and I felt like I had done everything right, did well in college and everything, got a job and so forth. And I was still struggling. And I was like, I didn't go through all this to struggle. What's going on? And I began to realize I wasn't addressing my financial mess that I had created during college. I wasn't maximizing my earning potential, and I was ignoring some of the things that I needed to make sure that I could live a more convenient life, such as my credit score and so forth. So I stopped avoiding, and I was like, we're just going to figure this out. There's other hundreds and thousands of people have figured out how to manage their money, and we're going to be one of them. And so it started, I was watching before and so forth. It really started with that commitment to consistency, commitment to consistency, to doing better with my money than I had been doing in the past.
Wow. Yes. So your money story, you said everyone has a money story and we all have the potential to be the hero in our own money story. Well, what if you've not been the hero ever? How do you become the hero at any age? That's a good question, because some people feel like they get to a point like, you know what, it's just going to be what it is.
It gets to the point, or some people start out saying it's just going to be what it is, but it really is that decision. And every great opportunity or change that occurs in our life starts with that decision. Every bad one starts with a decision. And so you decide, okay, I'm going to, one of the tenets of being financially responsible is save more than you spend. So, okay, I'm going to save more money than I spend. I'm not going to tell myself I can't buy things, but I'm going to save my money, or I'm going to allow my money to work for me. And I'm going to do things responsible with my money before I do something irresponsible with my money. I think the biggest part and the biggest issue for people they think it's this dramatic life overhaul, when actually it's slowly doing things bit by bit. I was not the person that I am today when I started my journey. I started with credit, started understanding how credit works and improving my credit score. Then I started saving more, because I was like, oh, okay, yeah, you need to have money in savings, your emergency savings. Then I started paying down debt. Then I started investing. I didn't do all these things at once. And that's what a lot of people get overwhelmed, because they try to do it at once, and you don't have to.
So is every case different as far as like the first step into financial wellness or my Fab Finance? Like, what is it? Is it different for each person?
Yeah, every case is different. And when every case is different with the regards of, it depends on what your financial goals are. And it's important to know what your financial goals are, not what your parents' financial goals are for you, not what your siblings' financial goals are for you, not what your children's financial goals are for you, but what your financial goals are for yourself. And when you know what your financial goals are, then you can start to ask yourself, okay, what's the thing I need to do to get to this step in the goal? And then what do I need to do to get to this next step? And what do I need to do to get to this next step? But for someone who currently lives in their home and has a car and everything, credit might not be their focus. They might need to focus on building for their retirement so that they can have money when they're ready to stop working. But for someone who is, thinking about buying a home, maybe retirement isn't on their radar right now. And they're thinking about, okay, how do I boost my credit score and save enough money for my down payment? So it does depend on where you are in your journey and what your specific financial goals are.
Right. And so many people have been impacted financially because of the pandemic. We have so many women who have lost jobs. I lost mine on Sister Circle. So things were definitely financially different here. And people had to take jobs that they've made less money. What advice would you give to women who are just trying to find their way financially, or find their way back to where they used to be, or being comfortable where they are until they get where they used to be and beyond?
Yeah, that's it's a reality for so many people right now. And give yourself grace. That's the first thing. Give yourself grace. A lot of times we want to, go into fix it. Sometimes we just have to sit and figure out, how are we going to make it to the next day? How are we going to make it to the next month? You don't have to be the victor out of the particular situation right now. You just might need to make it to the next day or make it to the next step and get above water until you feel like, okay, all right, now I'm floating. Now I'm in a good place. I see the shore and so forth. Now I can start to pick up momentum on those goals. But at the end of the day, you just need to make sure you're taken care of and those who rely on you are taken care of. I sometimes people are like, why are you telling people not to pay their bills? But here, as long as you're paying your necessities, then credit card companies can wait. Like the debt, that can wait. You want to make sure that you're taking care of yourself in the now, giving yourself grace, and then we'll pick things up as we can. But one thing I also will say is this is a global pandemic. So people are being impacted in ways that we haven't been, as far as most of us can remember. So that companies are also more understanding and more lenient. So if you are navigating hard times, it's the time to pick up the phone and communicate with your creditors and communicate with companies you do business with. Hey, I've been impacted by COVID, XYZ. I know me and my husband, we were impacted. My husband works in film. And so they weren't shooting, there weren't any jobs. And we had to renew our health insurance, and they were just giving us all these issues and so forth. And all I had to say was my husband was impacted by COVID. And she's like, oh, okay. Hit a few buttons, just like, you're good to go. So don't hesitate asking for help and communicating, being honest and transparent about your situation, but give yourself grace.
Yeah. We got to be open. I think a lot of times people are, they're ashamed, but like we're all going through this together.
Yeah, and they don't know you.
Absolutely not. I'll look on Instagram and Facebook, and you'll see people who are doing so well in the stock market, and they're constantly on their phones, and everybody's like, the trading and all that. All of that sounds foreign to me because I'm just not into it. What would you say is the outlook for, especially women and Black women in particular, on how they can tap into growing their financial lives or increasing their financial lives through the stock market, and how can it be less intimidating?
Yeah, I think it does start with learning and educating yourself. And so if you don't have, so here, the great thing about working with a financial advisor per se is that a financial advisor, certain ones work on a commission basis. So they make money based on what gains they achieve for you. You don't have to pay them out of pocket initially for them to start investing for you. But they can also communicate to you what they're doing and so forth. You can pick up the phone. They work for you essentially. So you can pick up the phone and ask them questions. But if you don't feel comfortable doing that yet, or you feel like you don't have enough money to invest with a financial advisor yet, then YouTube is full of so much information. There is so much information, and large companies have complete educational sections on breaking down and understanding the stock market, and they break it down in a way that a kindergartner could, maybe not a kindergartner, but maybe a sixth grader could understand it. So definitely take advantage of the free knowledge out there. When I got started, one of the books I read, because when I started my financial journey, I didn't have enough money to buy books. So I took myself to the library, and I got a book called Girl, Make Your Money Grow. And that was a great book for helping me understand the stock market. But then lastly, there are a few other resources. My Fab Finance, we don't necessarily talk about investing because I know my zone of genius, and that ain't it. So we don't talk about investing, but there are great assets out there, are great outlets out there, such as Stocks in the City. There's Black Girls Do Invest. There's the IT Investor. There are all these Black women focused on helping Black women understand how to invest. And so right now is not the time to say that the information isn't there, because it's there. If you go to Google and type in Black woman financial educator, Black woman financial advisor, Black woman, stock education, you are going to find it. So just look around for the resources available to get educated.
Right. Many of us took a hit credit wise because of loss of their jobs. And then you think about, could you speak to, taking those forbearance on your mortgages and then having to double back? Because then when you get on the phone with them, like, yeah, it's going to be this and it's going to be a lien. And you're like, what happened? And then it can eventually hurt your credit. And they don't tell you that in the beginning, but then on the back end, you're trying to fix it. So how or what do we need to do to make sure that we can, build our credit back up when we've suffered these types of losses or had to make changes?
Absolutely. So when I started my Fab Finance, I started with my credit journey, and I increased my credit score by 130 points in 18 months.
Wow.
And no trickery, did it by myself, didn't have people adding trade lines or doing any foolishness. It was all legitimate. And it was learning and understanding how credit works. Credit is like a puzzle. So if your credit score has been negatively impacted, I want you to remember that credit scores go up, credit scores go down. You have the power to make your credit score increase. You have the power to ruin your credit as well. And so if it goes down, it must come up. And so there are things that you can do, such as any other balances or any other accounts that you might have, such as credit cards and so forth, get those down to 30%. Credit is based on your relationship with debt. So as long as you are properly managing your debt and keeping those balances responsible and so forth, eventually your credit score is going to increase again. Yes, it might take a ding during the pandemic. And yes, it might take a ding because of a decision that you might have had to make, or you might have had to prioritize wellness or healthcare over something else that would have had a financial impact. But at the end of the day, communicating, because you never know, they might forgive that blemish, or they might remove that late mark or so forth. So making sure you reach out and communicate with your lenders, but then also understand how credit works. Credit has 5 different elements to it. It's your utilization, the amount, the age of your credit, the inquiries that you're getting, your credit mix, and your credit limits, and how you're utilizing your credit. So once you get a good handle and understanding of those, and start to, okay, I understand this piece of the puzzle. All right, I've worked this. I understand this piece of the puzzle. All right, I've worked this. Then your credit score will start to increase, and give yourself time. People often freak out about their credit score and so forth, but I feel like that's the thing that's the easiest to fix. Like that's the thing that's the easiest to fix, because for one, things will fall off over time. And so if you want to wait and, allow some things to fall off or lose their punch on your credit score, but there is just the algorithm is there. And once you understand how it works, you can make it work in your favor.
Right. And there's also, you can dispute things on your credit score as well, credit report as well. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so you can dispute legitimate errors or anything like that. And there are companies that you can work with, and, legitimate is up to the interpreter. But, this is a good time to actually dispute some items on your credit report, because a lot of people aren't in offices. A lot of people aren't going into office and checking the mail and so forth. If they don't respond to the mail, then that item is going to fall off your credit report, because they're not responding to your challenge or your dispute. So you can actually write a letter. On MyFab Finance, I wrote an article called "I Disputed a Credit Company and Won." And so I sent a letter to them disputing the amount that they said that I owed. They never came back and verified it, so it had to be removed from my credit report. So you can do that.
Wow. We have been, one of our amazing women wanted you to repeat the 5 credit areas one more time. So yes. We got those down.
Yeah, absolutely. So the first one is the length of your credit history, how long you've had an account. So collectively and individually, how long you've had that account. Your credit mix. So they like to see that you have installment and revolving accounts. So that means that revolving is such as a credit card or something like that, that's going to change or fluctuate based on utilization. Whereas an installment is something like a car payment or your mortgage payment. So you want to make sure that you have a healthy mix of those. Then your utilization, so how you're utilizing that. So, if you're utilizing more than 30% of the credit available to you and so forth. And then inquiries, whether or not you have any hard inquiries. A hard inquiry is when someone else pulls your credit or checks your credit report. And a soft inquiry is when maybe you're just going on, one of these credit monitoring sites and monitoring your credit. And then the actual limit, your limit amounts.
Wow. It seems like so much. Like, how do you make it easy for people like me?
MyFab Finance, for so long, our mission was helping people break the cycle of living paycheck to paycheck. And today, our mission is actually to help you make better financial decisions so you can achieve your financial goals. And so we help people like you because we break it down and we make it so that it's not intimidating. It's like, let's just make a better decision today than we did yesterday. Let's walk away from that sale and put that money in our savings account instead of putting it in the company and investing in their dreams. Let's put $5 aside a week to invest in stocks and just see how we feel about that. So we break it down into smaller actions. That way they don't feel overwhelming.
Yeah. We all have a relationship with money, which you alluded to in the very beginning. I actually have allowed myself to go through a financial kind of therapy session to see what my relationship is with money. And according to our CEO, Ms. Linda Blunt, she wants to know that, so many women are afraid to even talk about money, or afraid of money. Why is that?
I think that So a lot of people, I think women get a bad rap when it comes to money because there are men who don't like to talk about money either. So I think women get a bad rap, but I think that, you know, money has typically been a taboo topic. I think that it was created to be taboo by the powers that be to keep us in line and not informed of what other people were making, what was going on in other people's financial situations. But then also there's so much shame surrounding bad financial decisions or surrounding financial decisions. And it's important that we begin to realize that just because someone has made financial decisions that aren't in their best interest, it doesn't mean that they're a bad person. Because I think that can also release some of the shame and invite more open and honest conversations about finances and create spaces where people are comfortable asking questions and, you know, being honest with each other and say, I don't know about this and you don't know about this either. Okay, let's learn and figure this out. I have friends, you know, when I first got started, I had friends and we didn't even talk about money. And then I became the finance person and like everybody was hitting me on the side talking about money. I'm like, how long have y'all had these financial questions?
Right.
So it does come back into normalizing financial decisions and removing some of that shame so people feel comfortable talking about it and then starting the conversation. I think that involving finance in this wellness summit is really important and we're having that conversation. Hopefully, as a financial educator, I've made people more comfortable and thinking about how to approach their finances and gave them some resources. Because once we normalize talking about money and once we normalize deciding to do better or make better financial decisions, I think it becomes easier to talk about it.
Okay. It's so much easier said than done because it's like, hey girl, how you doing? Yeah, girl, what he do? So what's your money talking about? You know what I'm saying? Like it's like, you know, like
people will talk about things that are way more private and way more intimate than money. You know,
right.
I'm like where I'm listening, I'm like, I don't need to know this. But then, you know, somebody might not be willing to disclose certain financial information or share their tax information or share how much they earn and so forth. And so, you know, I think a lot of it is out of fear of being judged. And one of the things we have to realize is that there's a whole lot of people out here making financial decisions that they aren't proud of. And they may feel like they have it together, but they don't. And so, like, don't worry about someone else judging you because they're probably judging themselves.
Yes, we are all the time. We're going to get better. And I know that because of this amazing information that you've given us tonight, so many women are going to log onto your website and try to get the help that they need so that they can move forward financially and not be ashamed to talk about money and not be ashamed to embrace the stock market and all these different things where we can really secure our financial future by just being open to learning more about it. You've got a financial success bundle on your website. Tell everybody about that and how they can support myfabfinance.com.
Yeah, so the financial success bundle is really it is to help people get organized when it comes to their finances. Because one thing that I do find is like if you've never tackled your finances or if it's been a while, it feels overwhelming. You're like, I don't even know where to start. So the first thing you get is a checklist to go down this checklist and say, okay, I've done this. All right, I'm cool on this. I haven't done this, so I need to do this. That checklist gives you your to-do list essentially. And then it comes with a debt repayment sheet. It comes with a network balance sheet. It helps you calculate these numbers that are important to your financial foundation. And it's completely free on myfabfinance.com. And the great thing is once you sign up there, you're interacting with me on a regular basis. And we always send out tips and resources and so forth in our Gearing Up, our Instagram live series where we'll be talking to different financial experts. Investing is actually our next topic coming up. So make sure you go check out that free bundle because then it'll let you know when we have future programs and classes coming up.
And how does it make you feel when you have seen someone who has come to you who's just been in dire straits about their financial lives and see them continue to progress and have a smile on their face knowing that they've gone through your program and really secured themselves financially? How does that make you feel?
I mean, you know, I always wanted to be a change agent growing up when I was in high school and college. And I don't think there's any greater change, or maybe there's some greater, but one of the greatest changes you can make in someone's life is helping them make better financial decisions because having money gives you options. And I love to see people be able to walk in their power and own their options and be able to operate free of how they want to because they don't have to worry about money as a consequence to not doing something. And so it literally lights me up inside in the most positive way possible, especially when it's Black women, because I'm just like, I've seen so many people give away their power because of money. And I just get inspired to do even more and help even more people when I see someone else realize what's possible and achieve the possible. So yeah, it inspires me to keep going.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing your wealth of knowledge with us tonight. Again, myfabfinance.com for more information. Tanya, have a blessed evening. And again, thank you very kindly for attending today.
Thank you so much.
All righty. Well, I hope everyone is learning some very valuable information. That was great for me. I've taken lots and lots of steps. I hope you were able to write down those 5 areas that she reiterated a little bit later on in the conversation, and get that information that you need to tackle the stock market, and just really, again, make those slow, she says, start slowly and make those small changes so that we can get the big result. And if you're just tuning in, this is, of course, the 2021 BWHI Wellness Summit. We've had our sessions on our minds and our money already. And if you missed any of the earlier discussion, don't worry. The entire summit is going to be available on both Facebook and YouTube immediately following the broadcast. And now we are headed into our final session, which is the movement session. Please welcome the lovely, beautiful Soleil.
Greetings. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. How's it going, beautiful?
It is going well. Thank you.
Good, good. Well, we're happy to have you here to just talk about, what you've been doing. For a lot of us, we know you as the amazing hip hop artist, Soleil. Clearly, things have changed since then. Take us through that journey from being in my radio. I think I probably interviewed you back in the day too, doing my radio days. Right. To where you are now. And I've been on your Instagram page. I'm like, wow, look at Soleil. Wow. So tell us about your journey from there to now.
Wow. So yeah, coming from, being a hip hop artist in the 90s, signed to DreamWorks Records, and having what people call a hardcore hip hop image, to now has, it's been a beautiful journey. It's been a long journey. But it began with leaving the industry, feeling like I was misunderstood as an artist, and just becoming disenchanted with the industry, not really interested in what all came along with the business of music. And so I loved art and performance and all these other creative mediums that I grew up, engaging in, but not the business of it all. And so, I was the artist that would be in my hotel room with books, dragging books around on the road. I didn't drink, didn't smoke, didn't party, didn't hang out. And so it was a lot, that goes on behind the scenes that just didn't interest me. And so after a while, though, I just I had been doing it for a while. Even before my deal came out, I had been performing as an artist since I was about 13. But, after my first album, I really became uncomfortable with the images that I was promoting, the lyrics that I was writing. Mm-hmm. And I gave into this spiritual prompting and call that I was feeling. And so I knew and realized the power of the spoken word and how we're able to manifest, reality through our words. But I didn't fully understand that power. I knew of it, but I wasn't really fully clear of how it worked. But I knew that I didn't want to participate in what I viewed as the destruction of our communities and what was being pushed and promoted in quote unquote urban music. So I left, and I got out of my deal. I got out of a 7-figure deal and left the industry and went on this journey. I call it the journey of the self, and it's been about 20 years now. It's been about a 20-year journey, and I was within that time able to travel to various parts of the world, studying and immersing in the wisdom of many ancient traditions, and having the privilege of really sitting at the seat of so many wise teachers and elders. And so along that path, because I consider myself a lifelong student, I'm always in somebody's class. And so along that journey, I amassed a lot of different different certifications and learning. So I studied in yoga in India and became a 300-hour certified Jivamukti yoga teacher and a mystical dance teacher, and initiated into the tantric lineage of the living goddess tradition. It's the Shakta lineage informed by Sri Vidya, and using sound as a healing modality as opposed to harming our communities. And so, I'm a black belt in Kung Fu and a clinical herbalist and an Ayurveda wellness practitioner. And, I have a certification in plant-based nutrition and a bunch of other things that I don't want to continue to rattle off a list of things. They can find that information on my website. But I am, most grateful for all of the experiences and teachers that I've had to lead me to where I am today and what I'm offering today.
Yeah. You mentioned spiritual prompting, and I think so many of us, because we're all royal, we hear it or we feel it, but many of us die without tapping into it. The spiritual prompting. How were you able to successfully do that, and how would you encourage other women to listen to the spiritual prompting and not turn away from that gift, because it truly is a gift?
Yeah, indeed. I always, even as a child, I felt into spirit and heard spirit speak to me as a little girl, and I grew up in a very religious and spiritual household. It was a combination of both. And so it was always there. So when I heard that voice speak, I had learned to somewhat trust my intuition as a little girl, but that became greater the more I practiced doing that. So practicing when we hear that voice or feel the hair stand up on the back of our neck, that something may not be right, or that we may need to move in a certain way, trusting it and acting on it, so that we learn to flex that spiritual muscle. And so I literally heard a voice. I had little daughters at the time, and I heard a voice say, "Is this what you want them to be? Is this what you want them to emulate?" And I was like, "No, it's not."
Right.
And so it was, well, what are you going to do? And I left the music industry.
Ooh,
so yeah,
that's a big step. Yeah, that's a big step, especially during that time, because we were all in it. Like, wow, it was like the height. It was like it was. But you walked away, and now you are doing just doing some beautiful work and helping to heal other women. Let's talk about the correlation between movement and our emotional wellness and energy, because I think oftentimes I am very centered. I meditate, I pray, use affirmations, but I think I've always been a dancer, but having looked at, all of your information and seeing you on your Instagram, I'm like, that's what I'm missing. The dancing and the connection to dancing and emotional wellness. Can you talk a little bit about that? I know you're going to give us you're going to take us through a session, but tell us how that connection is so beautiful, or why it's so beautiful.
Yeah. Well, life is movement and energy. So, movement is also creation. And as women, we are vessels for creation, at least in this earth realm. And everything alive is moving, is spiraling, is vibrating. And so life is dynamic. It's not static and stagnant and sedentary. And we know that when we have a sedentary lifestyle, that we have an increased risk of early death, because life is movement. And so when we're not moving, or we're taking in more than we're expending. And on every level, what are we taking in through our eyes? What are we taking in through our ears? What are we putting in our mouth? We're taking in so much that we can't process it, that we can't move it through the body. We're not moving enough and processing enough. Then our metabolic processes become disrupted. And then in the Ayurvedic tradition, it's called amma, which is toxicity built up in the body. And so we have this toxicity buildup, which, causes us to succumb to high blood pressure and heart disease and certain types of cancers, diabetes and stroke. But movement specifically helps us, as we're talking about emotions, to reduce stress. And one of the biggest impacts, or I would say the biggest impact on women's hormonal health and hormone imbalance is stress. And it particularly affects our womb and causes womb maladies. And we see extremely high rates of this effect on Black women. And so reducing stress through movement is one of the biggest ways that we can impact positively our hormonal health, which we know affects our emotions. When our hormones are out of whack, our emotions can be all over the place. Our wombs, though, tend to be a place where we hold a lot of that toxicity, a lot of that imbalance as far as when we see maladies happening in the body. And that's because the womb energetically is a place of receptivity. You know, we have the ability there to recreate in our own image. And so it is literally a holographic imprint of the cosmic womb, and we can find, you know, all of the secrets of the universe within the womb space.
Right.
And so it affects, you know, movement can affect our emotions. It can affect us not just physically, but mentally and spiritually as well. And our thoughts and emotions are grounded in the physical body. And so changing our bodies through movement can literally change the way that we experience the emotions and thoughts as they arise. Yeah.
Wow. And I know you're going to show us some poses, especially for beginners. But what advice would you give to that person that's like, oh, I can't dance, you know, because we constantly judge ourselves on what we can and cannot do. What would be the first step? I know you're going to show us, but what would be the first step for a woman to believe that she actually can change her mood and change her energy through dance?
Yeah, so, you know, with dance and dance specifically, it's so powerful. Women, you know, there's not really a woman that really truly hates to dance. Even if she says, oh, I don't like to dance, I can't dance. It really is, I think I can't dance. I feel like I can't dance. And so as everything is in the West and in this overculture has become, you know, commodified. It's become a thing that is something that you do to show how talented and skilled you are. And there's something to be said. I'm a trained dancer also in various different dance forms. But the dance that I teach most often is more of intuitive dance and in mystical dance is what we call it. But knowing and understanding that everybody can dance. You know, when you drop out of your head and really into your body and are not focused on what the dance looks like. I'm not trying to perform right now. I'm using this as a way to heal my body, to express my divinity, to really tap into the soul of who I am. Then, you know, dance then becomes a powerful form of medicine. And so just do it, you know, start at home in your bedroom and dancing, not even looking in the mirror, you know, at first, just really feeling into your body and allowing yourself to be danced, you know, not this is not a performance. When we do this type of dance, I always call them prayer performances because it's really is a tapping into spirit, into a higher level of consciousness. And it's not about, am I doing this? Is this exact proper technique? Again, there's something to be said for that. And, you know, there's a value in that. But when we talk about this as a medicine and as a healing salve and balm, it's not about technique. It's not about what does this look like? Because sometimes it looks really ugly. You know, sometimes it looks like a whole lot of tears and falling on the floor. You know, it's not always a pretty thing. It's not always technically correct. But it's a very powerful healing modality that we have that we can just do at any time.
Yeah. Beautiful. Well, I know that we would love for you to demonstrate a few poses that beginners can even attempt at home. Can you do that for us?
Yeah, and you know, and before we even move into that, I wanted to mention one more thing about dance and how it is able to be used, because I think it's important that we understand too. Even, you know, in the West, we like to tap into that masculine energetic of the scientific and logical mind and thinking, and dance specifically. It really is intrinsic to women as a practice, and it is transformational. And first step, when we talk about women being like, oh, you tend to feel very vulnerable if you're not a dancer, and then it moves to, I start doing this and then I feel empowered, and then you begin to be transformed by the dance. But dance, in as opposed to other forms of movement, literally changes the brain in, for instance, and it increases the brain volume in areas that deal with communication, that deal with movement, that deal with memory retention and attention regulation. And, like other forms of movement, though, can help us with depression and anxiety, and boost our creativity and give us a real sense of community when we're dancing together, and help us address body image issues, help us better understand the nature of our bodies, what they were designed for, and to feel more confident and secure. And the only way you feel more confident and secure moving in that way is just by doing it. But trauma causes us to feel unsafe in the body. And so many of us have gone through traumatic instances, or trauma that's been passed down through our DNA for various reasons. We know trauma has the ability to change us on a cellular level. And then being embodied, though, is essential to healing. And everything we take in gets stored in the body. Traumas get stored in the body, not just in the mind. It gets literally trapped in the cells of the body and can alter our DNA. And so we need not just talk therapy, which is beautiful and necessary for some people, if you've had very traumatic instances, that to go seek a psychologist, to seek a psychiatrist, whatever you need on that, a therapist in whatever way. But those somatic therapies, through these physical movements, these embodied practices help us literally move trauma out the body, because it's not just in the mind. So I wanted to keep that in mind as we move.
Right.
Move on to actually moving a little bit.
Yes.
And so what I'm going to do is we're going to do just a little bit of an intuitive movement practice. So less about, am I doing this right? What am I doing? Is this a specific way? Though I will guide you through a few things. But we're going to really feel into our bodies, as well as then a shaking practice. Because a shaking practice, the first time I did this, I was in Thailand, and I was like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever done. I'm like, I'm just shaking my body like this. Was like, what is it? I'm confused. I was laughing and like, oh, we look stupid. Like, what are we doing? About 5 minutes in, half of the class was on the floor crying. Other people were yelling out. Some people were rolling around on the floor. But if you think about when we go through traumatic situations, what happens? You start to shake.
Right.
You start to shake. It's the body's own intuition. Intuitive nature is the body's own wisdom that knows that I need to shake this, like physically move my body to move this trauma out of the body. But what do? Don't do it. Don't move. Oh, don't shake. Don't cry. Don't. Our body's own innate gnosis, the wisdom that it has to do what it does, and we stop it. We're going to shake it. We're going to feel into that and shake too. So we'll do just a short practice of intuitive movement and a shaking practice. So we'll do about 10 to 12 minutes of that. Okay. And so I'm going to move my camera back once we bring me on a full screen, and I will make sure that we're able to fully see, because I'm going to scoot back and make sure, because I'll be sitting for part of this when I stand for the shaking portion. You probably won't be able to see my head, but that's okay. You don't need to see my head. So if you're going to participate in the practice, if you're able to sit on the floor, it'd be beautiful if you can to be seated on the floor. If you're seated in a chair, you'll be able to do part of this as well. And just feel into whatever part that you are able to join in on. And let me make sure you're able to hear me well, you're able to hear the music well. But we'll begin just by bringing our hands to prayer and our heart centers. And just allowing your breath to breathe your body. Our breath is a bridge between our body and our mind, our life and consciousness. So just allow everything that is outside of you to stay outside for now and focus your attention inward and on your breath, on deep gratitude. And then begin feeling into your body with your eyes closed if that feels safe to you. Feeling into what does your body want, what does it need. You can take your hands and literally feel into your body, feel into your shoulders, your neck, your legs, your back, your arms. Anywhere you may feel tightness or that may need attention, just allowing yourself to be nurtured and nourished by your own hands and by your own movement. Bringing your awareness to your emotions. What are you feeling in your body? Where is there tightness? Where are there any patterns of holding? And then if your eyes are closed, which they can be because you don't need to be looking at me at this time, you can just be fully inward and just allow your body to move right now in any way that it feels like it wants to move. Being sure that you breathe. Allow your body to move in any way that it feels like. Let it guide you. Without thinking about what it looks like. Continuing to allow your breath to breathe you. And then coming back to center. If your eyes are closed, gently opening your eyes. And then beginning to do some gentle neck circles. You can bring your right ear down to your shoulder. And then your chin to your chest. Your left ear to left shoulder. And then without crunching your spine, your cervical spine, bring your head back and then turn that into a smooth circle in one direction. And when you feel ready, allowing your body to dictate, switch directions. Take that circle in another direction. Remembering not to crunch your cervical spine as you draw your head back. Keep your neck elongated. And then let's start to take those circles into our body. You can go either direction, but think about your heart circling your central channel. So when you roll back, we're going to exhale. When we arch our backs and come forward, we'll inhale, connecting breath to movement. Exhaling when we round our back. Just really feeling more than you are thinking about what this looks like. When you feel ready, allow your body to change direction. If you don't feel like changing direction, continue to go the direction you were already going, but just allow your body to tell you what it needs, which direction it wants to go, but feeling into these sacred shapes that our bodies are able to make. Be sure to breathe, don't hold your breath. And then let's all come back to center. Drop your shoulders down and back. And let's take a seated cat-cow. I'm going to turn to the side so you're able to really see what I'm doing. So the seated cat-cow on inhale, we're going to arch. Exhale, we're going to round our back. Inhale, arch your back. Exhale, round. And then continue to do this at your own pace. You can do this faster or slower, allowing your body to dictate. And then we're going to come onto our hands and knees, and we're going to bring that cat-cow back into our bodies, but this time on our hands and knees. So if you're able to come on hands and knees, if your knees aren't bothered by being on the floor you're on, if you do this at home on your own, you can put a blanket under your knees or a yoga blanket. But we're going to, again, we're going to just arch and round at our own pace. When we're arching, we're going to inhale. We're going to exhale when we round our backs. But do this at your own pace, just allowing your body to be nourished and nurtured with movement. Continuing at your own pace. And then we're going to tuck our toes. We're going to press back into downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Allow your head to hang free. Shake your head left to right and holding no tension in your neck. And then just begin to pedal your feet. We're not worrying about how proper technique is right now. We're just allowing movement to flow through our bodies. And then slowly begin to walk your feet forward, slight micro bend in your knees. You can bring your hands up and gently one vertebrae at a time begin to roll up. Head is the last thing to come up. Once we come to stand, we're going to exhale. I'm going to bring the camera up just a little bit so we can see. And then we're going to do about 4 minutes of a shaking practice. So literally, we're just going to begin by allowing your body to shake. You can start with your hands, start bending your knees and bouncing the body, but not thinking about it. We're not thinking about how silly we think we look. We're not thinking about anything except allowing ourselves to be moved, to dance. If you feel tension in your head, moving your neck, just allowing your body now to move, to shake off anything that is holding that you need to release. Remembering to breathe. You can exhale loudly. You can let sound out if you need to release sound in a loud yell or a scream. Whatever needs to escape and come out, just allow it. Right now, we're just allowing. If your head is, you're holding your head stiff and still, shake your head left to right. Just allowing your body to shake. We're shaking off trauma, we're shaking off stress, we're shaking off worry and anxiety and fear. Continuing just to allow. Coming out of thinking mind and fully into your body. Exhaling loudly. As you shake, if you feel like you want to be on the floor shaking, that's fine. Honor your body. And then we're going to slowly begin to start slowing our shaking down. We'll come to an abrupt stop. but slowly bringing your shape ultimately to stillness, but just not abruptly. Continuing just to move gently until you ultimately come to a place of complete stillness. Feeling the energy flowing, running through your body. Taking note of how you may feel differently than when we began just this short practice. Bringing your hands to prayer at your heart center. Giving gratitude for your body and all the amazing things that it has the ability to do. And just feeling into the body and any renewed energy that you may feel, any places that may no longer feel stuck, even from a short little practice of movement, just being in the body.
Right. Right. That was beautiful, Soleil. Thank you so much for sharing. That was gorgeous. You know, there's so much stress in our hips, all the time. So I know a lot of times when I'm doing my yoga stretches and poses, I'll sit in those hips and I've actually sat in poses where I've cried.
Yes.
Because there's so much built up in our bodies that we had no idea. And women, we internalize everything. We're like, oh, it's fine, everything's fine, and it finds different areas to attach to our bodies.
Yes.
So that was absolutely beautiful. I cannot wait to incorporate that now in my daily practice. So thank you. How can people continue to support you and find out more information on how they too can become as beautiful in movement as you are?
Well, we didn't do any flowy belly dance movements yet.
Oh.
Well, I don't know that we have time, but if we do, we can do a little bit of that. But so I teach and offer about a course called Embodying the Goddess. And this course is all about, moving, coming into an embodiment of the feminine aspect of divinity. What does that mean? So we're like, a lot of people goddess talk is very popular now, is very trendy. And, most of it we see, unfortunately, though, is based strictly on the physical, on our exterior. But embodying the goddess is about bringing forth that inner beauty and opening the chakras and unblocking them and really cultivating a heart of love and compassion and getting rid of any limitations that we have, any limitations that say I'm not good enough, or she's this or she's that and I'm this and I'm that, or I'm this and I'm that, and projecting so much on the outside world. And because what makes us a goddess is when we get to a stage where we are grace.
Yes.
That beauty in everything without judgment, and we leave people better than we found them.
Yes.
And we become emotionally stable. We can't have our emotions out of whack and all over the place and then say, oh, but I'm the goddess because I'm beautiful.
Right. Doesn't work. We got to have balance. You got to have the balance.
Absolutely. So it's not desperately grasping and reaching and clawing and, trying to get something. It's about sitting on our throne and magnetizing to us what is ours already rightfully in the right time. And it's not a passive position, but it's a position of deep feminine power. But it's not about how beautiful our face or our body is, because that's a spiritually immature view. Being a goddess is when the wisdom on the inside of us is awakened. And so embodying the goddess is just that. It's an awakening. It is an awakening of the goddess wisdom on the inside of us, a remembrance of when woman was sacred, a cultivation of a conscious relationship with the feminine aspect of divinity as she lives on the inside of each of us, because she lives on the inside of each of us, but she's not always awakened on each of us. And so we've had thousands of years of patriarchy and oppression and dogma and trauma and fear and abuse and this overculture that we see this now, conquer over nurture. You know, we revere conquering someone and getting over the nurturing aspects of woman. And so woman has become overly aggressive and jealous and competitive. And we see violence in women at levels that we haven't seen in a long time. And we've become also overtly, distortedly hypersexualized.
Yes.
Or just completely shut down, just completely, is that virgin whore dichotomy. And because woman is no longer revered as sacred, we really forgotten our original grace as embodiments of the goddess, of the feminine aspect of divinity, and our sensuousness, which comes from the heart. It's not about our sexuality, it's about a heart space. And so how we relate healthily to ourselves, how we relate healthily to others, this is what results in a humanity. When we don't have this, when we no longer revere mother and nurture and nourish, then we have humanity that we see now, one that's disconnected from divine love. We see this reflected in the state of the world now. One of my teachers always says that we're like a world of orphaned children. The woman is no longer held up. Mother is no longer revered. Everyone we revere going out, getting, and nourishment of ourselves or others. And so we see the abuse of women. We see women are used and discarded. And very different from a far ancient time when man saw the goddess or deity manifest in his own mother, in his wife, and in every woman he came in contact with. And so we've become cold and harsh and competitive and fearful and disconnected as a result of this. We see this. There's more competition than there is coming together and working together. And this dis-ease of disconnection creates a cycle. This disconnection creates the atmosphere for further abuse and exploitation. And I love how one of my very first yoga teachers many years ago, Sharon Gannon, she said that you can only abuse and exploit others if you feel disconnected from them and have no idea about the potency inherent in your own actions. If you feel connected, then it's you as well as other living things who will suffer from the suffering that you inflict. Right, so you understand that when I inflict suffering, I'm ultimately inflicting it on myself. And Paramahansa Yogananda said it like this, which I love. When you offered me poison, you didn't realize my life was one with your own. So when you're offering poison because we're jealous or we want to compete, or we're insecure, we're ultimately poisoning ourselves. So this offering of embodying the goddess is, it really is an offering to raise the vibration of love on the planet. And we do that through various modalities, through sacred sound and mantra starting, yoga and meditation, and ritual and ceremony and dance, and all of these things of women gathering together in the ancient way of woman, how we did thousands of years ago, supporting one another, loving one another. Really coming back to one of the sisters mentioned it earlier. I can't remember which one it was, of how, it was so important for her to have sisterhood. And we're so desperately missing that. Right. Desperately missing that.
Well, I'm glad that your movement is bringing all of us together. We do have some time for a little short belly dance if you can, but I do have questions that we can fill if you want to do that.
We can answer. We can answer.
Oh, we got some questions. Okay, cool. So here's a good one. Jerry M would like to know the name of the song you played during your movement session.
Which one? There are two. It's so funny. Every time I teach, somebody asks for songs and playlists. So the first one is called Saya, Saya, and it is from the Motherland score. And the second one is a song called Lila, and it's Lila. And so the artist is Benji Wertheimer, I think is how it's pronounced, and John DeCat. But if you type in Lila, Lila, in Spotify, or it'll come up.
Okay, great. Well, Sean Dortch wants to know if you believe stones have healing properties.
I do. I do feel like there is, something to stone medicine. I mean, everything has divinity inherently in it. And so, yes, to keep it short, yes.
Yes. For how can movement help in healing heartbreak and rejection. That's from Jerry M. as well. Or
Well,
just
then,
advice in dealing with that type of heartbreak and rejection.
you know, as I mentioned before, on a physical level, it helps us to move trauma. You know, heartbreak can be traumatic too. And so it gets stored in the cells. And so movement allows us to move some of that out of the body, but it also helps us to become more self-confident. You know, your confidence can take a hit when you've had your heart broken. And so movement is one of the ways that we can do that, but also to help us feel fully empowered by tapping into our divinity. You know, movement, what makes movement and what makes dance sacred, what makes it, you know, a powerful healing tool is that, you know, throughout history, dance was a mystical art and an authentic path to realization. And, you know, we literally dance the divine into existence. And so what makes it sacred is our intention behind it. And so what is the heart behind it? If the heart behind it is to heal, if the heart behind it is to come into higher levels of consciousness, then that makes it a sacred practice and a very powerful healing tool to heal even heartbreak. When you start to come to higher levels of consciousness through modalities such as sacred dance, then you learn to tend your own inner garden. And tending your own inner garden gives you something whole and wholesome to come home to, because you're separating from someone else that you may have been dependent on or relying on and not so much on yourself. But when you turn that attention towards yourself and tend your own garden, you have something lush and nourishing. You know, when you come home to yourself, what's there? You know, what's there? So we have to tend that daily, and that helps us to overcome, because we tap into something greater than ourselves, greater than that alchemical thing we created when we came into union with someone else.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, Soleil, you've been absolutely fantastic. And I know lives have been changed tonight from the beginning, from the mind session to the money, and now to the movement. So this was the cherry on top of an already delicious cake. So thank you kindly for your expertise and your love and your light. I mean, you are literally shining through. And I know lives have been changed tonight because people just didn't realize that the movement can be healing as well. So thank you again. Continued success on everything. I'm so happy for you. This is just beautiful. I'm happy to share space with you.
I'm grateful to share space with you as well.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Soleil, everybody. And again, tell everybody how they can find you one more time.
So you can find me on Instagram at Mrs. Soleil, MRSSOLE, or you can find me also at goddesstempleoflove.com. And that is where all the sacred offerings embodying the goddess and any dance offerings that we have coming up are all through the Goddess Temple. And then I also have Davy Tribe Wellness, which is my wellness site where I offer herbal medications and other holistic body products and herbal clinical consultations and things like that. So
love it. Yes. Now, so the people are asking for a belly dance. Could you just do one?
Let's do a short, like how much time? We got 10 minutes to do a sacred shapes practice.
Or can you do like a 7-minute version of it?
Let's see. So we'll do that. And then when you're ready for us to come out,
then we'll fade on out with our acknowledgement.
Let's do that. Let's do it. I'll move that.
Yay, Soleil.
So and I hope you can see me. I'm going to step back as far as I can. Let's bring one hand to your womb and one hand to your heart. Just feeling into the divine, holy being that you are. We're going to allow ourselves to dance from the womb. It doesn't matter if you still have your physical womb or not. We have this energetic space here. And we're going to take an inhale and extend your arms up overhead. Exhale, bring them back down. Inhale, your hands up and over above your head. Exhale, bring them back down. And one more time, we're going to inhale, bring your hands up overhead. Exhale, bring them back down. And let's reach to the heavens first. So we're going to bend our right knee, extending your right arm up. And then the left, just envisioning drawing down heaven into your body. Make sure you breathe, but literally envision drawing down the heavens down into your heart. Make sure you have a smile on your face. And then let's offer that love out to each other online. So taking the heart energy and offering it out into the room. Anyone else that may be in the room with you, offering it out to each sister that is online. And then let's open our heart and then close them, wrapping around, giving yourself a chronic hug, doing this at your own pace. And then let's just take a gentle shake. And let's start with some hip circles. So let's starting with your right hip. We'll take some small hip circles so your feet are just about hip width distance apart. A slight bend in your knees, just a little micro bend in your knees. Make sure you're not arching your back and you're not tucked, but you have a neutral spine. We're going to put our arms out into some empty mudra, our middle finger and thumb finger almost touching. And we're going to take our hips out to the right. And then front, left, and then back. And just make some gentle circles with our hips. Feeling the sacred shapes that our bodies can make. And let's change direction. And then let's separate our feet and make that a little bit bigger. So we're going to take again our hips to the right. Let's go back this time. And then left and forward. Making big circles this time. Coming up, hugging yourself. And when you feel ready, we're going to change direction. We're going to do these pretty quickly so that we have an opportunity to just get some different movements in. Make sure we smile. And let's do it moving. So we're going to bring our feet closer together. Again, tuck the tailbone, not tuck too far, not arch, but a neutral spine, knees are bent. And so with the booty, we're going to think about drawing a diamond on the ground. So we're going to again take our hips to the right. We're going to tuck our pelvis forward, take it to the left, and then down. So it's going to look like a circle in this way. So we're going to keep our upper body still. Think about churning butter with your tailbone. This is a good way to tone the pelvic floor, to tone the abdomen. Let's go in the opposite direction. If this seems difficult to you, you can put the accent on the back. And let's speed that up going in whichever direction you want. So instead of this 4-count speed, let's do that. And let's shake it out. And let's just do a couple more movements. Let's try Maya. So we're going to again bend our knees. Make sure your feet are about hip width distance apart. We're going to take our right hip and lift it up. And then we're going to push it out. And then down and in. Okay? So we're going up, out, down, and in. And we're just going to do this. Let's smooth that out. And we're just going to do it on one side first. We're going to keep this upper body still. Let's move to the other side. Up, out, down, in, up, out, down, and in. Let's connect them. So like we're making a figure 8. And if you need to, you can do mine with our feet flat. But when you're first learning, you can lift your heel up and bring it to help you bring that hip out a little bit more. And let's shake that out. And then let's do a body wave and a shimmy, and then we'll close it out. So for a body wave, there's a couple different ways you can do this. So what we're going to do is lift our arms out to the side. We're going to lift our chest. We're going to arch back. And then we're going to roll down. But think about the roll. We're not waving our whole entire body this way. We're going to keep it isolated here. So it's rolling down and the spine is coming with it. But we're not rolling our whole body, if that makes sense. So I'm still doing this to the side so you can see. You can come up on your toes. I don't think you can see my toes, but I'm actually on my toes right now. And we're going to just do a body raise this way. My left foot is slightly in front of my right. And then what we're going to do is just move around the room, not worrying about technique, but just allowing your body to flow. In whatever way feels good to you. Not thinking, not worrying about what it looks like, but just allowing yourself to be doing. Allowing yourself to move in whatever way your body wants to move and express. And then let's close it out with a shimmy. So bringing our feet again parallel and hip width distance apart, bending the knees. And we're going to just shimmy by don't let the glutes be loose and not focusing on the hips. So you'll see the movement here. So it's like we're tucking our knees. Keeping our upper body still here. And let's speed it up. Bring our arms in. And lifting our arms up, bringing our hands to prayer at our heart center, and giving thanks for our beautiful bodies that we have to express the divine feminine through.
Thank you, Soleil. I'm so glad we ended up doing that. That was beautiful.
With the quick.
Yes. Awesome. Again, thank you so much for just your beauty inside and out, and we appreciate your time tonight.
Thank you. I appreciate you as well.
Absolutely. Let's give a virtual love fest for Soleil, and please make sure you continue to support her and each of the women that you heard from tonight: Sherry Riley, Avery Sunshine, Dr. Shepherd, and also Miss Tanya from My Fab Finance. All right. On behalf of Black Women's Health Imperative, I'd like to thank all of you for tuning in tonight. Thank you to Poise, our sponsor, and thank you to everyone who participated tonight and offered their time and expertise to help us have a prosperous and healthy new year. I hope that you have taken some notes. I'll read a couple things I have as we close out. The one thing that Sherry Riley said: permission to go through the messy middle. Give yourself permission to go through the messy middle. Extend yourself some grace. There's a long time commitment to the process. Commit to consistency. Absolutely. Also, the multi-cape. that Sherry alluded to. Sometimes you need it to cover you up, to take a nap. Sometimes you need it to cover you up, to say no to the person that is constantly on you. And also the power of no. Please make sure, ladies, that no is a complete sentence. You don't need any explanation. No, I'm sorry. Unfortunately, I won't be able to come because I have another event. No is no, and you're fine. Also, as far as money, make sure you're doing those small things to help change your financial future. And make sure you log onto our website, byfabfinance.com. And we heard from Soleil about each of us having that spiritual prompting. She talked about her spiritual prompting and how she changed her life from being an artist in the hip hop community to truly showing her artistry and sharing with us tonight, which you all experienced, which was absolutely beautiful. What does it say? Drop out of your head and into your body when it comes to dancing. Don't judge yourself when you're dancing. It is medicine. Trauma makes us feel uncomfortable. So sometimes we'll have those types of those levels of uncomfortability that we may experience when we're dancing. So don't judge yourself, ladies. Be free. I hope that you have been able to really, really grasp a better understanding of who you are and whose you are as you navigate 2021. And may we all continue to operate in a spirit of gratitude. My sign back here says gratitude and love, kindness, and also understand the magic that we have, especially as women and particularly as Black women. We are a special group of people, and we need to continue to push. It's baffling to me that we have to push on other people how magical we are, but we've always known it. We have carried life and will continue to carry life. We have created this world. And so believe in your magic, ladies, and know that whatever it is that God has placed on your heart, you gotta at least try it. So if God placed it on your heart, how dare you not try? So move in the spirit of excellence. Move in the spirit of knowing that whatever you want for your life, you have the ability and the power to create it yourself through the power of manifestation. So do it, and get it done. Again, I am so happy to have been your moderator tonight. And to remind you that if you've been a supporter of Black Women's Health Imperative, we want to thank you. The organization has been working for more than 38 years to provide Black women and girls with the tools and information they need to be Black and well. And that is a testament to what you have been shown here tonight, and your support helps them to continue to do this special work. If you're new to the Imperative, we welcome you and invite you to continue to make our program part of your wellness journey. You can learn more about BWHI and what the organization is doing in communities on HBCU campuses and on Capitol Hill to protect Black women's health by visiting bwhi.org. We have to take care of ourselves, everyone. We have to take care of ourselves. And remember, if you miss anything tonight, the replay will be available immediately following this broadcast on both the BWHI YouTube and Facebook channels. Again, be well. Know that you have the power to create your own life. If you've created the life that you have now, you have the power to create what you truly want in your life. So go forward, be kind, be well, pray, and continue to put yourself first. That is not selfish, because you have to pour into yourself before you can give anything to anyone else. My name is Rashawn Ali. You can find me at Rashawn Ali on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, RashawnAli.com. Continue to support all that I have going on, my podcast, the Cool Soar Podcast, and also Sporty Girls Incorporated. Also have a children's book, pipersky.com. If you have girls between the ages of about 5 and 10, please support my book. I love you. May God continue to bless you and walk into your greatness. Have a great evening, everyone. And thank you so much for joining us for the